An upsetting night for Georgia State sports fans as they were back-to-back losses in the sports arena against Arkansas Little Rock. I'm Jared Oliver, alongside my partner, the Deacon David Chili. Let's start with the women's, David. Okay, there's a lot of negatives, but let's try to find some positives out of this game. What's your positive?
Positive is that they came out and they fought hard. They didn't give up. That's something that I've seen from the women a lot. Even when they get blown out, they usually show a good never-say-die attitude, and they play all the way to the very end, even though they continue to lose and sometimes in ugly ways.
Mm-hmm. Well, actually, I might have to disagree with you on that one.
Oh, okay.
I saw a team that didn't really put up a lot of fight.
Right.
And also, I mean, to the contrary, they just don't have enough scoring power on the offensive side of the ball. They don't have anyone. You would think it would be Makiba Ponder, but she hasn't showed up as of late. Mm-hmm. I don't know what's going on with her. But if I can find a positive out of anyone, it would be Haley Jaring.
Okay.
Her numbers weren't fantastic. She had 8 points, 4 rebounds. That's it. But I saw a level of aggressiveness, passion, some sort of competitiveness, and a will to keep fighting no matter how bad things got. And that's my only positive. I can go down the list of negatives. Alexis Dawn for Arkansas Little Rock. She drove the entire court on a fast break and scored. And I believe it was 1-on-4. And she still scored, and then the coach called a timeout. I don't know what was going on with that. That's just a lack of passion and a lack of will to compete.
It's just a lack of defense.
The 2-3 zone, their 2-3 zone was dissected just completely. And Sharday Collins and Kiana Keys, 15 points and 12 points for Kiana Keys, just completely wrecked them in the middle and took advantage of the 2-3 zone. And that's some of the things that went completely wrong. And my third, Astasia Titer, she was the first player to score in double digits with 2 minutes and 50 seconds left in the entire game. So that's a problem.
Yeah, it's a big problem. Like you said, offensive power is something that the team lacks. And you're right. I brought up fight just because when a team really gives up, they just kind of just dribble down the court and just jack shots up. Now, I don't really see that. I don't really see them just going out and jacking shots up. Now, they kind of do that when they fall behind, but when it comes to the end of the game, you see them really trying to fight and see some effort. So I understand your point, but I'm going to stick with the whole fighting thing. But at the same time, though, offensive firepower, like you said, you thought it was Makiba Ponder? 0 points for her tonight.
Exactly, and they won't win like that.
Nope.
They will not win a game like that. And you would think they would have 3-point shooters.
Yeah.
You have Makiba Ponder, Tatiana Jackson, maybe Astasia Titer, maybe. They finished the game 1 for 7 behind the arc. And that's something that they did well last year, not the case this year.
Yes, the three ball is something that earlier in the season they were better at it. They weren't lights out from the 3-point range, but they were a team that we knew could, if they got hot, they're rhythm shooters. Let's say that. So they're rhythm shooters. So if they can hit their shots from behind the arc, they will continue to do so. But when they're not scoring enough and they fall behind, then they feel the need to shoot threes, and they haven't been able to do that as of late. So now we're talking about a team that's lost their rhythm behind the arc. They can't shoot. They don't have the firepower. Makiba Ponder's not hitting her shots. And really, she's the only 3-point shooter that I really see, honestly. Morgan Jackson tries to score in the paint. Even though she has the ability to shoot threes, we're not seeing her take as many threes. So it's very difficult for me trying to figure out what exactly is the problem. It's more than just the scorers aren't scoring. It's more than that. There has to be something deeper.
Well, I think to look into that, I think it may be a little bit of the team still doesn't know who each other, who are they? What's their identity? What are they good at? What can they do to be a successful basketball team? To some degree, not even looking at the record, but what can they do to play with a level of competitiveness and not look so dry coming into the game? Right. I mean, I didn't see much effort. I saw a little effort on the defensive side of the ball, but at the end of the day, you have to execute on offense, and I didn't see that. And like I said, they just don't have any arsenal on offense. I don't know where they look to. They try to go inside, but when they try to do that, it seems like the game is already over. They try to punch it inside in the interior and get to the foul line, and that hasn't been working for them. So I think it's one of those seasons where they have to still try to figure out what can they go into the offseason and try to figure out what can they do positive and what can they take from this season.
Yeah, you know what? We haven't said this all year. The very first episode of Primetime Sportz Talk, me and Joey went through how the team has 10 new players. Not one time have we said, hey, this might just be a rebuilding year. Yeah. We haven't said that at all. And that's what, honestly, that might be exactly what this is, a rebuilding year. You have 10 new players, and they're trying to figure each other out. Okay, that's what basically rebuilding is. So I'm wondering why, I guess maybe we're being a little too harsh on them, expecting them to win all these games and whatnot, when this honestly could have been a rebuilding year this entire time. And we just, for some reason, haven't really said that. We've been kind of beating around it, saying they don't have the firepower, they don't know who each other are, the chemistry is a little bit off. It's because there's 10 new players on this team, and they're trying to all, fight for playing time and things like that. They haven't gelled yet. It's a rebuilding year.
Yeah. Well, we have to give out game balls. I'll let you go first and pick yours.
Okay. I'm going to go with Astasia Titer because she led the team with 13 points, and she also led the team in rebounds with 7. So I'm going to pick this ball up right here, and I'm going to go ahead and grab this marker.
Dish that off. Go ahead, dish that off to her.
Astasia Titer, get the AT. If I can get the marker open, my goodness. Woo, who closed this? The Hulk?
Come on, man. You got to hit the gym, man.
I do hit the gym. It's just the marker got stronger than me today.
Okay. I wish we can focus in on these signatures to see how bad our handwriting is. Okay, here's mine. I didn't see much out of this game. I was pretty unhappy by the way the game was going. Looked totally out of just awkward, no competitiveness. But I will go with Haley Jaron. Her numbers weren't fascinating. She finished with 8 points, 4 rebounds, not something to be totally excited about.
Right.
But she was the only one, like I said, that I saw who played with some competitiveness, who had a will to fight for the passion of the game, and she fought for her teammates. So I'm going to give it to you, Haley Jaron. There we go.
Garin. You got to get her name right. I don't mean to.
Haley Jaron. Garin. Okay.
Get off of you.
All right, it's cool. All right, so there we go for the girls.
All right. Let me grab my pen real quick.
All right, so we're going to move on to the men. 57-49 loss against the number 1 seed, Arkansas Little Rock. They played fairly well in this game, especially in the first half, starting off with a 13-4 run.
Yeah.
And they went into the half, had some confidence, but they fell short. This is their 7th loss in the last 8 games. Definitely a problem, a level of concern. I'll start with you. And what did you see out of this game?
I saw a team that came out fired up and ready to play.
Okay.
They came out and they were hitting their shots. They were doing what they needed to do on offense and on defense. They did a good job on both sides of the court, but it fell apart. And this game was literally a game of 2 halves, a story of 2 halves. Okay, if we want to look at percentages, Georgia State for the entire game shot a better percentage in both field goals, 3-pointers, and free throws than Little Rock. However, when you really dig deep into this, Little Rock shot 50% in the second half, and Georgia State shot 22.7% in the second half. So and in the first half, Georgia State shot 52% compared to 28.1% by Little Rock. So like I said, tale of 2 halves, and it really just kind of fell apart in the second half. The shots they were making the first half, they stopped making, and like Coach said, the team hit a wall.
Yeah, I thought they played very well for where they are right now in the season. And throughout the duration of the game is when their characteristics started taking over. They're not a good shooting team. They're, I think if I'm not mistaken still, they're still dead last in scoring in the Sun Belt, number 11. Their inability to get to the free throw line, specifically speaking about Kevin Ware, didn't even get to the free throw line, and that's part of his game.
Right.
And I think the level of inconsistency still continues to surpass through this season. Jeremy Hollowell had back-to-back games in Alabama against South Alabama and Troy, 22 points, 11 rebounds, and I think the next game 23 points and 12 rebounds. So, and then tonight he finished with I think 12.
Jeremy Hollowell, 12 points. Yep.
And I mean, that's their leading scorer, and the level of inconsistency and not being able to. And he came on late. He didn't come on necessarily too strong at the beginning of the game.
Right.
So that's a level of concern, and they are who they are. I've been saying that since the middle of the season. They are who they are by now. And you have to give them credit for fighting against a number 1 seed, Arkansas Little Rock. The best team in the Sun Belt, of course, and I give them credit for that. But I think, according to me, if I had to call it right now, this season is over. I don't think they're making the Sun Belt tournament.
They're not even going to New Orleans?
I don't think they're making the tournament. The Sun Belt tournament, the NCAA is clearly out of the question. That's been out of the question for a couple of weeks now. The possible wins they may have against Arkansas State. They're number 6 right now in the Sun Belt. A good game when they went to Arkansas. It was a tight one. They let that one slip. App State, they're just not good. I think they're overall 4-11 in the Sun Belt, and they slipped up against them in Boone, North Carolina. Maybe, and I think the losses that come out of the season, the rest of, they have 5 games left.
Okay.
I think they'll lose to Georgia Southern.
Okay.
In Southern. Lafayette, I don't think they have a chance down there. UL Monroe, they're the number 3 seed right now. I just don't see them. And right now, with this loss, they're number 8 in the Sun Belt now.
Yeah.
So they would have to win out these games. I just don't think that's going to happen. Coach Hunter said in his press conference that, he's not worried about the standings. Well, I'm glad. Yeah. Because if you ask me, I think this season's over. The best thing they can do right now, as Coach Hunter iterated in the press conference, is just worry about his players getting better. And I think that's the most important thing he can do right now for the rest of this season. And I think they just forgot how to win. I think they forgot what it feels like. They don't know what helps them be successful. They scratch and claw on defense, and that's the only thing that keeps them in the games. Offensive scoring. There was a point in time in the game where they drew up a play for Kevin Ware to hit a shot to narrow the lead. I believe it was about 2 minutes and 50 seconds left, and he couldn't knock it down at the elbow. Right. And that just goes to show that they don't have that scoring power or arsenal that they had in the previous years.
Well, Stu, you want to talk about scoring power? Let's say this. Like I said, tale of 2 halves. And I'm going to get to your point about the Sun Belt tournament in a second, okay? In the second half of this game versus Little Rock, not a single player on the Georgia State roster scored in double figures. However, in the first half, we had 2 players, Isaiah Williams and Jordan Sessions, both scored 10 and 11 points respectively.
Jordan had a great game coming, in the starting lineup.
So you talk about scoring power. It was there in the first half. We saw the potential. Georgia State was up by, I believe, 12 heading into the second half. So they were like in a position. All they had to do was keep it up. And then they get to the second half. They started turning the ball over. They were getting some foul calls against them. And the shots that they were hitting, they weren't hitting. And even shots that they were hitting earlier this year, they were not hitting. Like they really have just lost the rhythm, and they're in a funk. And this is the worst time to be in a funk. Georgia State started off hot, but it's one thing to start off hot. You got to end hot. You know what I mean? You have to. This is the part of the year where you need to start picking it up, because last year with R.J. Hunter and all them, the team picked it up towards the end, and then when we got to the Sun Belt tournament, you saw Georgia State really make a push all the way to the upset against Baylor, and this is the opposite of that. So I'm really disappointed. And to talk about the Sun Belt Conference tournament, if they squeeze in, they're not going to make it out the first game. If they squeeze in, because really they came into this game tied for 7th. They really needed to win this game. You saw that in the first half. It went away. Yeah, they're probably not going to make it to the tournament, and you're going to have to just fight and try to play spoiler a little bit heading into the games with Southern and Monroe and things like that. But if you are fortunate enough to make the tournament,
in the first half they played with a lot of confidence. I saw players, not buying too much into the system.
Right.
I saw them playing with, what got them to this level.
Oh yeah, you saw Sessions take shots.
Yeah, and to speak on Jordan, I'll bring up that in just a moment.
Okay.
But I think they played fairly well in the first half. They look like Georgia State basketball. But like I said, their characteristics of this season took over late in the second half. And when Little Rock started to make a push, I wasn't surprised at all. I was like, well, this is the number 1 seed. We are who we are. We played fairly well against a team of their caliber. Coach Hunter wasn't really upset about this loss because they're the best team in the Sun Belt. And I think he recognizes who they are, and you have to respect that. And it is what it is.
It is what it is.
I just don't think they're going to make a push into the Sun Belt tournament. I could be wrong.
Okay.
But as of right now,
it doesn't look likely.
I'm not buying it.
Yeah.
I just can't.
It doesn't look likely, and I can't disagree with you.
I don't have any confidence in them making the tournament. That's my. So, you want to start with game balls?
Yeah. Before we get to game balls, I'm gonna grab this ball right here.
Okay.
I want to say something real quick. Malik Ben-Levy, with 4 whole seconds. You know how black people like to say whole, like there's such thing as a half. With 4 whole seconds left in the first half, Malik Ben-Levy decided to take a half-court shot. He had a few more seconds to pull up, take a 3. We don't give these out, but I'd like to give the first official boy
Yeah.
of Primetime Sports Talk because you had no business taking a half-court shot with 4 whole seconds left. But in terms of the game ball.
Okay, before that. Before that. In his defense, we have to realize that it is very hard when you're coming off the rebound and you know the clock is ticking.
Okay.
I mean, as a young guy, when you have the ball and you know the clock is about to, expire, when you just throw it up there, sometimes it's just in your head, I have to get rid of this ball. So in his defense, he's a young guy. He just saw the clock ticking. He probably just threw it up, and he didn't realize he had maybe about 2 more dribbles in his defense. Now, now, granted, it was pretty funny and a little bit embarrassing.
Yeah.
But to his defense, it's hard to time that sometimes when you try to anticipate it, especially when you have a defender in your face sometimes.
But he was by himself.
I mean, there was 1.5 seconds left on the clock when the ball went out of bounds, but luckily they didn't score, and it saved him some embarrassment and from him getting chewed out by coach.
Yeah,
to his defense.
Okay, to his defense.
I held it down for you because he was coming for you.
I'm not trying his life. I'm just saying, don't ever do that again, young man.
All right, so go ahead.
That's all I'm saying.
Who are you giving the rock to?
I'm going to give my game ball to I'm going to give it to Jordan Session because this is a guy that that earlier in the season didn't get a lot of play time. He has really earned his way into the starting lineup. He started tonight, and he was on fire in the first half. Like I said, the second half wasn't very strong, but no one had a strong second half. So based off the first half, definitely got to give it to Jordan Sessions, and hopefully he can keep that up going into these next games. Even though Georgia State doesn't really have much of a chance in terms of making the tournament. Well, they do have a chance, but like we've said earlier, it's not very likely.
Well, despite the loss, man, I got to give it to my boy Jordan Sessions.
Yep.
Had a great game, and this is the reason why. This has been a bit of a frustrating year for him. Still learning the system, still trying to get used to Coach Hunter, and the way he coaches.
Right.
He's had some growing pains this year, had some frustrations to the point where, heck, I even think he maybe wanted to walk out and leave the game, and Coach has been really hard on him. And I'm glad Coach put him in the starting lineup, despite the things and the tendencies that Arkansas Little Rock does, with their off-ball screens. He played well, knocked some shots down, and I think that was good for his confidence. I think he could be a really great player for this offense because, like I've said, he brings versatility to this offense. Yeah. He has the ability to bring the defensive big man to the perimeter because he can shoot the jump shot.
Exactly.
So I think that's something that they can use and utilize in the future because then that creates lanes and space for guards to maneuver in and out the paint. So, Jordan, I'm going to give it to you, my man. I'm happy for you. You finally got some confidence, knocked some shots down. My man, Jordan Sesh, good job, man. I'm going to give you the game ball. Here you go. Virtually, through the TV screen. So, that's mine. All right. I'm Jared Oliver alongside with David Shilley. Thanks for watching, and catch us maybe next time against, see us Saturday. I'm Jared Oliver, David Shilley, and we're out.